this is the Israeli parliament building. A couple days ago, the protesters against the government were compared to the insurgents in the US. Now, as you can see, some of us actually see it as funny. Steal the look and everything for the memes. But the thing is that this building right here is the parliament, is the Knesset. We have never, during the protest of this year, tried to get inside. We held several protests and were beaten up pretty badly by people, but we never tried to breach. In the US, however, differently the things happen. However, there is another thing. You saw in the recent 60 hours since the Capitol, Capitol down, I guess, you saw so many things that happened in the US and in other countries, but it is essential for you to understand what is happening in the propaganda in Israel. At the moment in Israel, we have a prime minister who is under investigation and is waiting to be judged for crimes against his country, for treason, for taking bribery, and for breach of trust towards the government and the citizens. He used the quarantine and lockdown in order to postpone his date to appear in court several times already, and the recent one was right yesterday, less than 24 hours ago. The thing is that some of us, the protesters, we have laid siege on the private residency of the Prime Minister in accordance with the law. Yes, freedom of movement and everything like that. No violence except for the cops who hit us. But, you know. And so the parallelism is dangerous. And it is essential for you to understand that what we do is a protest, a democratic protest, a non-violent one. Most of the people participating are trained in NVDA and are against violence. They just want their country back. They just want their government to work and not to starve to death and commit suicide and, you know, die. Okay, now when in Hebrew you say die, it means enough. So, you know, it's lost in translation. Now, one more important thing is that in the last few hours, the Prime Minister has used barbed wires and vehicles that has water cannons to arrive to his private residency. Barricades are set. Special service people are interrogating people and detaining them on the streets, not taking them to police stations for interrogation, but just detaining them, sitting with them for 3 hours and then letting them go. As I am speaking, barricades on roadblocks are preventing people from arriving to Jerusalem in order to conduct a peaceful protest near the residency of the Prime Minister. And this is just unfair and unjust. So it is important for you all to understand that the parallelism does not exist. You cannot compare peaceful protesters who protest in the vicinity of an official residency of a corrupt prime minister who for over 9 months, yes, the duration of time it takes to get pregnant and have a child, he is postponing his trial, and at the cost of every potential single death during this epidemic and economic crisis. Justice in the space age has committed suicide. However, the idea of justice will always be reborn. The question you want to ask yourself is, how much pain will each of us endure in order to manifest justice back into the world? In here are some of my belongings. This was given to me when I was arrested on the 2nd of January 2021. It's my 3rd political arrest. The first 2 were on July. And in here I have a little sketch for you. it has a few memes and a little poem that I wrote comparing Trump and Netanyahu. It also has a shirt with a story and a mask. So, regarding manifestation of justice, and I apologize for the partial nudity, but the question you want to ask yourself is how much pain will you endure in order to see justice back into the world. So, with no further ado, time for the comic part. Granted, you might not get it, but just wait for it. Okay, so US conspiracy theorists be like. Okay, now again, you can stop and skim through it later, but the levels of the memes, I guess they're funny enough. If not, then joke's on me, but that's okay, because... Okay, so this is the first one. The thing is that we need to evaluate truth. Truth will always find its way out into the world, whether it will be by us, by evidence, by time or reality. Truth will come out. And just like in Fight Club, we were told a bunch of stuff by a bunch of people over the years, and we're slowly learning that the system is not actually in our favor. Despite the fact that it's supposed to actually be in favor of us, the citizen, and it's supposed to support us, it doesn't. And we see this when the economic crisis is here and the pandemic is here. You see, arrogance and fear, they keep you from learning the simplest and most significant lesson of all. It's not about you. It's about all of us. We are all humans. We're all people. We're all part of the society. We cannot just give one man the power to decide who lives or dies. We're not in ancient times. And if you can surrender your ego and just give in, you will find the means in order to change reality, to shape it as you would like. And in my personal perspective, we are the wizards by creating a better reality without violence. Now, we don't have much that we can do. Mainly we can lose, because we don't have the power to stand up to the government. But if we lose again, and again, and again, and again, eventually someone else becomes our prisoner. Now, there are claims that we are violent. Look at the hands. You can see in this picture by Mully Goldberg that there are people who raise their hands in surrender. See, this is me. These are other people. Look at the people here. Yes, look at the police and look at the people. You can see that they are not trying to be violent. A single dissident is not regarded as a threat because they cannot comprehend what a single person can do. However, the difference in levels may be fun for you, Otako, but the other people, they just wouldn't get it. And now, for those of you who are more towards taxation and money trails and shit, the one thing that is true of all governments, taken from V for Vendetta, 4310, yeah, recommend this movie very much. The most reliable records are tax records. And now I will ask you, have you seen the movie The Taking of Pelham 123? It's with a few good actors, and it's about a stock exchange broker who was in prison and then hijacked a train in order to manipulate stock exchange with gold because of the terror attack. Now let's see, what are the profits and the changes in the stock exchange in the last 60 hours since the insurgent on Capitol Hill? I wonder, I don't know, but I presume someone is benefiting from it. And now for the conclusion. Fear became the ultimate tool of this government. The rest, they say, is history. Why haven't we come forward? Why couldn't we prove it all? We waited for you. We need you, the citizens. We need each and every one of you. Only together, only without violence, with enough people, we can change reality and shape it. It was like a perfect pattern laid out in front of me. And I realized that we were all a part of it, and all trapped by it. So do I know what's going to happen? No, it was a feeling, but I can guess, and so many others also. If you would like, watch this movie, V for Vendetta, and you will see how corrupt governments are using pandemics in order to manifest dictatorships into the world. We are told to remember the idea, not the man. Because the man can fail. He can be caught, he can be killed and forgotten. But hundreds of years later, an idea can still change the world. Now, the idea is a non-violent protest, because violence breeds violence, and we just won't change. So, people at home, you might be wondering, can a peaceful protester actually have a chance at success? And I, like others, will say to you, we are in the end game now. They can use violence, they can use water cannons, they can use brutality, arrest, taxation, they can use fines, they can use so many things that usually dictatorial and totalitarian states use against dissidents, but it won't help. We will rush B, and B is Balfour. And so, a poem. If so far it was a joke and you might have thought to yourself, well, this guy, you know, he speaks nice, he has cool memes, but is he really intelligent? Allow me to read to you a poem I wrote. I named it Uranium, an unstable chemical element, radioactive, used by many people and many governments in order for medical research, and, you know, Sacha Baron Cohen left about it, but technically militarization. This poem consists of 92 words, the exact amount equal to the atomic number. There's a reason for it. Instability radiates from within, a power tempting, yet a sin. Life persists to maintain balance, man persists to give a clearance. Channeling all power to but one, and the fabric of reality might be undone. Science, poetry, history, politics, infected by lies by a bunch of power-hungry, incompetent dicks. Instability of mind calling for insurrection, and in Israel, internal propaganda in a state without a constitution. Peaceful protesters sieging the residency of a corrupt prime minister, armed insurgents breaching the US Capitol with intentions that are sinister? Justice is blind, difficult to find. Please be kind. And remember, the doctor may have not come this January, but great men are forged in fire, and it is the privilege of lesser men to light the flame. Be the change you want to see in the world. Don't breed violence. This belongs to all of us, so it is important for you to take your part and play your part. Now, in a zero-sum game, The thing is that the game cannot end until all of the players have played. You need to have all the cards on the table in order for you to be able to actually, you know, start a new game. We, as citizens, also have cards. And it is very important that we play ours. Here's my card. If you'd like, you will find a way to reach me. Now, the theory is a theory, but technically, as a history teacher and a linguist and a person who is also an English teacher, potentially I may be able to explain how fake news, neurolinguistic programming, and all else actually work using the precise words and connotations and timing. And timing is the most important thing. So hopefully, this is the time for change, and let the change be a good one. Simply as that. Thank you.